Hello, everybody. Welcome on into Dungeon Lounge. It is me, Elizabeth. It's it's a little bit sad. It's gonna be our last hobby stream for a while. Not that there's never gonna be hobby streams again, but as mentioned before, we're kind of in the countdown to our final stream as the Dungeon Lounge before we take a little hiatus to do a little restart, refresh, rebrand, reboot, re. But hello, Knox. No booping, or rather, I can't stop you. So I'm not cross oceaning at the soup store. I'm at soup. So for those not aware, in the area of Kananana I'm in, is we are under a nice orange warning for heat, and it is stupidly humid outside. So again, if you hear my air conditioning fans going off, I am not sorry. I don't want to die. But yeah, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow is Canada Day. And I hope everyone's doing okay. And I'm here and we're cross stitching. Again, we're working on our Disco Elysium pattern. We're going to be doing the clouds probably over here-ish. I mean, I don't think I'll get the whole thing done, but I can make good progress. Also, hello, Cavalcadence. Hope everyone's doing okay. So every time Siribot reminds you to hydrate, I'm also reminding you to hydrate because, dear God, I don't want anyone getting heat stroke today. I don't want to get heat stroke today. I'm doing my best not to get heat stroke today. I'll fill in this spot. I mean, technically it's my country's day. I didn't decide it. You should take it up with your government officials about where your day is. It's not like tomorrow is Elizabeth Day. It's for all of the country. Do you have a country, Knox? I mean, if you've got a country, then you can make your own day. Okay, there we go. The hole was not holding. Yeah, oh god. Like there's like this one pocket in my place where I've got the air conditioning going, it's okay. We're all good. And then there's like a set of stairs, like it's a two-story thingy, right? So there's 2 floors. And the stairs are in such a way that they are I'm sorry, I'm gonna put this. There's like a dead zone and just air will not circulate over there. So it's just like you go to the stairs and you just feel this immediate like plunge in comfortable temperature, and it's just like no, like it's you kind of see it like regardless of time of year, like it becomes the ambient temperature of the outside, so it's like in winter it becomes the cold spot. And I'm assuming my experience with dead cooling dead zones or warming dead zones is not unique, especially if you live in a place that was built before. Oh wait, no. What are you doing? Why weren't you with your brother? Places that were built before proper HVAC. Those renovated century homes and the like. I thankfully did not have to go into work today, so I did not have to worry about whether or not the trains were. Blech. Hopefully, the worst of the heat will pass by the time I do have to go back to work. Or not. So, Knox, are you going to do anything for America Day? America Day? Because that's this weekend for you guys. I have no choice but to know when your Freedom Day is. The unfortunate side effect of being your hat. Well, not your personal hat, but like Canada being the hat of America. I will say though, I appreciate Canada Day being on the 1st of the month rather rather than on a random day of the month. Carrier day placement. I'm interested to see if there's going to be fireworks tomorrow because, like as I said, we're under like a big heat advisory right now. So I wonder if some places are going to opt not to do it, especially because like the smoke's going to make like breathing quality is always a concern when you get heat waves like this. But at the same time, people like fireworks. As a foot of Canada, you know what? I mean, I've always thought of it in like that the terms of like what was it? Not Justin Trudeau, but Pierre Trudeau's dad. He talked about Canada being the mouse next to the elephant. I like the idea of like I like not to say like all elephants are lumbering or clumsy, but I like the image of America being a lumbering, clumsy oaf that can't pay attention to who it's trampling on when it except when it suits them. Good image. Whether or not you like Pierre Trudeau aside, that was a fast way to piss off my dad. Mention Pierre Trudeau had some good ideas. He'll get mad real fast. So for the Americans in the chat, the Trudeaus are like the Kennedys, but no one got shot in Canada. In that they are kind of the family of politicians. Both father and son have been a prime minister. Get in there. First one on credentials, second one on name and charm. I mean, nah. I found it funny. I was talking to, so yesterday, I went over to my sister's to watch the FIFA game between the Netherlands and Morocco. Man, that was a nail biter one. That went right to it went right to penalty shots. Anyways, and we got as happens in my family, politics came up briefly, and my sister was remarking on the fact that everyone was mad at Justin Trudeau because he didn't go to the opening FIFA game. And I was like, okay, but what other former prime ministers went there? And she's like, well, she was supposed to go. And I'm like, but why was he supposed to go? No one gave a shit that Stephen Harper didn't go to the opening FIFA game. Or what about Chrétien? And she's like, well, they're all upset because he went to Katy Perry's concert. It's like, what? He went to his girlfriend's concert instead of a political obligation he no longer has because he's not political anymore? He got out. Like, whatever. I think you just want to be, I think some people just want to be angry at Trudeau for no reason. Like, I'm not going to say like Trudeau was a perfect prime minister. He wasn't. He reneged on a lot of his promises. And I'm not happy about that. But I don't think he deserves to be lambasted for not going to a game. A soccer game. Especially because those tickets were so goddamn expensive. Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of, especially like with the heat the way it is, like the last FIFA game in Canada is going to be tomorrow, I think. Not tomorrow, sorry, Thursday. I've decided Wednesday doesn't exist anymore. We'll be on Thursday, and it's like, you could not pay me to sit in 40-degree weather in Celsius. We don't talk about freaking units. You cannot pay me to be in 40-degree weather on a soccer game bleachers. No, thank you. And like refreshment and everything is at super inflated prices. They better have free water stations there, is all I'm telling. Before there's going to be there's going to be some people who go passed out on the bleachers. Those seats don't look comfortable either. Not like the seats of the people who are the players. They look like they got comfy seats. Which, I mean, in fairness, they're working hard. I feel bad for the players playing tomorrow on Thursday. Ooh. You can barely get me to walk outside when it's 40 degrees out, let alone go running around playing soccer. I'm sure they're used to it to some degree. Well, yeah, maybe it depends on the country. The British ones may not be. The British. But whoop, I just want to check something. No, we're good. Okay, I thought maybe I'd the string get overly tightened, or not overly to get the string get knotted. But whoop. Oh, thank you very much for the follow 831. No. I'm assuming Narf is a reference to Pinky and Dwayne. If it is not, please tell me I'm not wrong. Also, I think that might be, unless someone decides to unfollow, that might be follower 1,000. In which case, holy crap. Holy crap. What do you mean 1,000 followers? Ah. We're not supposed to have 1,000 of those. No one perceived me. Wait, that doesn't really work when I'm cross-stitching, does it? But also, hello, happy Tuesday. Despite my whinging, I do appreciate the follow. Thank you very much. My name is Elizabeth. And this is the Dungeon Lounge. It's a shared channel. Today is my day. Grim will be here tomorrow on Canon and Anna Day. Probably trying not to die as well. Because one thing that I do not envy for his office setup is that his, depending on what he does with his PC, the PC can run hot. So like he kind of like, even sometimes when it's not bad out, he needs the AC running to keep that PC in line and not becoming soup. Or I guess melted plastic. Can melted plastic become soup? I guess if you melt plastic enough, it becomes liquid and you could treat it like soup. You shouldn't drink plastic. No matter how delicious plastic looks, you should not drink it. It is probably not good for you, but I am also not your mom and can't make you do shit. No. Nope, wrong hole. Wrong hole. I'm going the right hole. There we go. I am a little worried. I'm going with my sister to a concert, not next week, but the week after. And I am slightly afraid of another heat wave hitting because it's like on the positive side, the venue is near the lake. So you tend to get a nice breeze coming off the lake, but it is also a concert, which means, a lot of people all in one spot. And again, overpriced water, which I think is a crime. You should not have overpriced methods of keeping people hydrated. And I'm sure they'll be like, but we offer a water fountain. It's like, but you won't let me bring in the container for it because you're awful. You set us up for failure that we're going to require refreshments. And also like all the alcohol that'll be available too. Which I don't drink at concerts. That's not my thing. Mostly because one, I have to be able to drive home. And two, I am the driver person. What was I saying? The other reason is also just like, no, I don't like being drunk around strangers. No, thank you. It is not a thing I would like to do. Strangers are weird. Not always. Some strangers are very nice and lovely, but when you're dealing with a stadium's worth of strangers, unfortunately, there's probably someone poopy in that group. Just statistically speaking, Statistically, you know what? I don't need letters. I don't need the English language. I'm just going to communicate entirely through Muppet sounds. Mana boop boo doo doo doo. Mana boop boo doo doo. mean, I guess the one saving grace is that the concert's in the evening, so hopefully you're not going to hit the worst of the heat, right? And the sun will go down while the because I think the concert starts at like 7:30 and sundown's around 9. So what was it? Annie. Hello, Licky Glock. How are you doing? Happy almost Canana Nana Day to you. Are you surviving the heat? Have you been staying inside in the air conditioning? I believe you have air conditioning, right? I hope you have air conditioning because, lordy, it's definitely not the day. It's definitely not the time to not have it. Like one of my friends, I lovingly refer to her as my work wife. She lives in an apartment that has no AC. I do not know how she is faring. Like I keep like kind of almost pleading with her every year. I'm like, please, please tell me this is the year you're caving and getting air conditioning. Especially because like we're, like my work is, partially in office, but partially work from home. So it's like, please on the days that you stay home, make sure that you got something. So I have to say hi to your neighbors. Oh, nice. You're celebrating early. I can appreciate that. I hope you're having fun. But thank you very much for stopping in to say hello. Is there going to be fireworks at the party? I don't know why I keep asking Licky God questions. He literally has already stated that he's only stopping in to say hi. And I'm like, engage me in conversation. I demanded it, all gremlin style. I require conversation, or I will continue to make Muppet sounds. Oh no, what if that's what the people are here for? What if they're here for the Muppet sounds? That's fine. I'm not specifically requiring any one person to engage me in conversation, except Licky Glock. I'm joking. Licky Glock has a social life, which is good. Social life is good. That's one thing I would like to do at some point this summer, if it's all possible. I want to go to a barbecue. Social life? Oh, I don't fucking know. Your guess is as good as mine, man. But I do enjoy barbecues. I'll probably end up going to one in August because that's what my sister usually does for my nephew's birthday party. Because she has a nice backyard and a nice barbecue, so it's good. That's always really frustrating is one of the neighbors here where I live also does regular barbecuing. So every so often you just go outside and you're just like, it smells delicious. Now, clearly he's not doing it right now because, again, it's soup outside. But I'm assuming there'll be some brave souls tomorrow doing some barbecuing. Like on TV, yeah. My reference for people's social lives are things like Degrassi. Yeah. I assume my experience is not unique in terms of nearby barbecue smell. Yeah, sorry. I had to readjust my position on my chair. My dog's on the yard, so fair enough. Yeah, sometimes you gotta be safe. Like, I do technically have a barbecue. It was left behind by the old owners of the place I live in, and like I had it looked over by my brother-in-law, and he's like, it is technically like, you got to give it a good cleaning or whatever, and it's technically usable, but it's like, I am intimidated by barbecue. Also, I'm intimidated to go check it and find like a wasp nest or something to settle in when I'm not looking. So it's just like, you know what? Nature can reclaim that barbecue. I am also like not enthused by the prospect of being outside in super high temperatures to barbecue. Oh, Ray, hello. Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Dungeon Lounge. It's me, Elizabeth. It's Tuesday. I am doing a cross stitching. How are you all doing? Van is here to make you a steak. Perhaps a fuss steak, if you are asked nicely. What were you up to? Pokemon Champions. Ooh, thank you. Oh, this is not good. I haven't painted them, but I had to strip them not too long ago. But I do need to repaint them because I don't like them. They're naked. Look at them. They're naked. I mean, bring the food as well. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll be honest. So my apologies to anyone, but I am not a fan of steak. I like hamburgers. I like other forms of meat, but I don't like steak. Like steak is fine. Like if you give me a decently cooked steak, I'll eat it. It'll be fine. It'll go to a journey on my tummy. But yeah. Otherwise, I'm not really a big fan of steak. I'm so sorry. Can I? How much more thread do I got? Oh, nope. Okay. The thread has said no, don't do that. Take that back? No, I won't take it back. I'm sorry. I'm not a big fan of the steak. I'm actually more of a seafood person. I'm sorry. I'm in the wrong place, though, to be a fan of seafood, considering I'm nowhere near the majority of all the seafood. I need to be in the Maritimes, I guess. Did you have fun with Pokemon Champions, Ray? Are you ready for Canada Day tomorrow? Are you doing anything? That question is also addressed to the rest of chat. All the Canadians represent. What are you doing? Hiding inside is an acceptable solution answer. That is also what I'm doing because it's stupid. Are you in the heat wave? Oh, you work on Canada? What? That's supposed to be illegal. They at least pay you time and a half? You're cold? Oh, I hate you. I'm not. I'm soup. Okay, good. You get time and a half. Okay. Then I accept the crime that is being committed. You were being paid to tolerate your crime. I will say that's one thing I do enjoy about my cushy salary job is that it's not a question about having to work on holidays. I just don't. Are we playing D&D tomorrow? That sounds like fun. Speaking of D&D, guess what the Dungeon Lounge is going to be doing on Sunday? We're going to play D&D. Grim is going to be the DM. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a fun one-shot, a nice way to celebrate our 5th anniversary and close out the channel. Okay, well, I'm speaking fatal. Just as a reminder, while we are closing the Dungeon Lounge, we are still doing a reboot, refresh, RE word. Resident Evil Dungeon Lounge. Wait, no. Point is, a Requiem. I don't know. Anyways, I'm keep thinking of RE words in my head, and my brain keeps going to Resident Evil Requiem. Anyways, we're just going on a little hiatus, a little breaky, because we're going to do a little rebrand. It is very exciting. Also, a lot of work. I forgot how much work it is. It's one of the things like we're starting to kind of like, put ideas together and like, getting a list together, everything we need. It's like, oh yeah. I forgot how much work this was. because I did it 5 years ago last time and I forgot. What have I brought upon myself? All right, there we go. Sounds fun. Yeah. Well, you're all invited to come watch or not. Well, sorry, you are invited, but you were not, we would appreciate you coming, but I understand people have lives and sleep. Yeah. I wonder what theme chat, like, wow, I mean, that's hard to say, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I suspect there's going to be a divide. There's probably going to be like people who've got different, things that they like to see, and then there's probably someone out there going, "But I like the dungeon lounge. Don't change it." Because I know, like, because I've seen it from like, like when a VTuber like does like a thing that's like, first I was a robot and now I'm a dragon, or like whatever. Like they, like Iron Mouse sees it like all the time because she changes models a lot and like themes and branding and like like she's still Iron Mouse, but you know what I mean. Like she kind of like changes around her vibe and everything like that. I would say almost say once every 6 months, and you get that whole contingent of like, I liked it better before. Why did you change it? That stuff. Oh, we got our CanCon in for the night. Woo! Wait, I want to check something. Are you? Oh no, it's just okay. I see what I've done. Okay. Tour back like the old. Yeah, there you go. Tour back like the old dungeon lounge. Why do you change what Torbeck likes? But I mean, I get it. Like, I've got my comfort things too. The things where it's like, why would you change it, right? Wait, I broke it. I'll fix it. I mean, ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like, the streamers are going to do what streamers want and follow them or don't. Problem solved. There is a great many things on the internet, and if you do not like what you are seeing, you are welcome to go to another part of the internet. Though Twitch would probably prefer you stay here and go to another one. Yeah, why isn't Roger? Yeah, there you go, right? See, that's the thing is like everyone's got like their quote unquote preferred bond. And there's a good way to start a fight. For the record, my father's favorite Bond was Sean Connery. My mother's favorite Bond was Pierce Brosnan. I do not have a favorite Bond. My favorite Bond is Austin Powers. Or Idris Elba. Which they're like, get Idris Elba's James Bond, and I cry because goddamn, he hot. He pretty. And he makes this sad face that I keep seeing. When I was watching Grim play Phantom Liberty, I was just like, my boy, my sweet boy. He's been done so dirty by the government. Which, I mean, is basically everybody in Cyberpunk, right? Yes. Remington Steele, I believe, was the show. My mom also really liked that show. She was a big fan of Remington Steele, which apparently prevented him from being Bond for quite some time because they had him locked into a fairly exclusive contract at the time. And then he was also in Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams, which is a really good movie. Because basically, just because Robin Williams carries it. There's a little. It was like an apprenticeship for Bond on TV. Yeah. Because like Remington Steele, if I recall, was like one of those kind of like. What's it called? Where it's like
if I recall, the premise of Remington Steele was basically con man turns out to be decent at fighting crime, which is not a new concept. It has been revisited multiple times. See The Mentalist, see what is it, Blacklist, so on and so forth. Anyway, so Remington, because the idea was is that you had a woman who ran a a private investigation agency. However, because it was the 80s, women were not taken seriously as private detectives. So what she did is she pretended to have a boss named Remington Steele that she took her orders from to conceal that she was in fact doing all the detectiving herself. And then at some point, basically Pierce Brosnan's character showed up and said, I am Remington Steele. And she, unfortunately, she couldn't give away the ruse of, do you know how much my mom watched this show? Do you know? I know how much my mom watched this show. Sorry. It was, she loved this man. She thought he was very pretty. Like, I think, like if you'd hear people talk about they have comfort characters. My mom had Pierce Brosnan before she knew what the word comfort character was. Anyways, it was like a fun premise because the show led into that whole like will they, won't they? Oh no, there's so much unresolved tension between the two. But who is this man really? He says he's Remington Steele, but what is he actually? And then, you get all the answers in the final season, and I'm actually happy about the answer, right? Yeah, like Moonlighting, which was, what's his name? Oh, God, what's his name? He was in the movie with everyone who falls off Nakatomi Tower. Why can I remember the stupid, dumb details, but not the name of the actual fucking movie? Die Hard. Thank you. It's Die Hard, and it's Bruce Willis. There we go. I'll get there. As I said, I remember really stupid, weird shit, but big things, no. If I recall correctly, he's not doing very well, Bruce Willis, and that's kind of sad. I think he had like a something like an Alzheimer's or something kind of settle in, and he's not doing great. Also, to get that discussion out of the way, yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Don't at me. Or you know what? Discussion in the chat. Child engagement is good. Erupt into a flurry of chat interactions about how I'm wrong. Or don't. But so many bad movies, they're just trying to, yeah. And I get that. And I mean, like, he's not the only actor to have done it, right? Like, I remember at one point someone like did an interview with like Michael Caine and like, basically asked the quiet question out loud, why were you in so much shit for like a lot of crappy movies? And it's like, well, they were paying and I needed the work. And apparently at one point, he wanted to make sure, he left money for his kids. And apparently at one point his kids pulled him aside and said, like, have you actually looked at your accounts? Do you know how much money you have? And he's like, oh, no, not really. I've just been working, right? And apparently they like, said, go, please go look. And, I think you're at the point where you can be selective. You've taken, like, he's had a lot of good roles, but like he took a lot of crap in the meantime too. And he started getting more selective after that when he realized he could safely. You know what I mean? It's kind of must be hard, like, especially like as an actor or whatever, and you don't really know what is going to be your final turn or your final role at something, and like what might become like your, like, because like, let's say for instance, that's happened a few times where like an actor will do all the work for a movie and then, unfortunately pass away. And so like they still release the movie because the work was largely done. But there's that kind of like, tragic element where it's like, this is the final role. Because I remember one of the big criticisms about So the voice actor who was best known as the animated Batman, Kevin Conway, I believe his name, Kevin Conroy or Kevin Conway. I'm probably getting his name slightly wrong. He passed away. His last appearance as Batman, if I recall correctly, is in the Suicide Squad video game. And unfortunately, in that game, the role of the Suicide Squad is because of plot shenanigans, all the heroes have become evil and they have to go around killing them all. And that includes Batman. So my understanding is I don't think they have to kill him directly or something like that, but they end up like finding a recording, and it's like a heartfelt recording where he talks about how he loves his Bat family. And quote unquote, as a joke, because it's a Suicide Squad watching it, not the intended recipients, they end up fast forwarding it to quote get to the part where Batman talks about how to kill the other Justice League members, because that's the big shtick of Batman, is that he plans for every contingency, which includes the contingency of having to kill the Justice League. Anyways, so the last time you hear Kevin Conroy as Batman is basically the butt of a joke. And a lot of people were unhappy with that. Like, obviously, when the developing studio did the game, it wasn't known that he was going to pass soon, so they didn't realize that was going to happen. But it's still like it ended up apparently hitting like a ton of bricks for people who were like, like, oh wow, his last performance, especially because they started marketing that it's his last performance once that it came out, and it's like, yeah, and you make fun of him, like not that's like directly, but like some quote unquote posthumous tribute, right? Again, I understand it's not the point, but and also just turned out overall not to be a very good game, from what I understand. Which sucks because I think the developers of the Suicide Squad game were the developers of, I think it's like Rocksteady, and they did the other like Arkham Asylum and all that thing. Yeah, it's just bad timing. So if I recall, whatever happened to Kevin Conroy was relatively quick. Like it wasn't like, oh, he's been sick with cancer for 5 years and it's come out of remission or something. You know what I mean? I think that game also like, I don't want to say bankrupted the studio, but like they burned a lot of goodwill, both with I think the publisher and with all of that stuff. Yeah, that's the thing is like, and I think because the voice work was already done, they didn't want to recast by that point, right? And I'll be blunt, they probably got told not to. Like I said, it became a marketing, like, capitalism and all that shit. It became a marketing point that it's like, hey, this is the last time you get to hear Kevin Conroy as Batman, short of, rewatching his old stuff. So it's like, okay, great, right? And it's like, oh. And I'm sure it was a marketing decision, not a, like, I'm sure the developers might have warned, like, like a lot of times, like, where it's like, when, the marketing team announces one thing, the devs are like, no, why would you do that, right? Left hand not talking to the right and all that shit. I don't think it was called for something other than that's true. Yes, something always, and especially like because I think like he had other like he wasn't just Batman, right? A lot of his more regular work was certainly as Batman, but like the guy did other stuff too, I'm sure. Honestly, with a lot of stuff like that, there isn't going to be one right answer, right? You're being puppy. I don't know. The dogs are adorable. That's very tragic. Point is, you don't have to worry about that if you're going to live forever, which is my plan. If you live forever, then you never have to worry about what your last role is. Not that I have roles, but you know what I mean. Like, imagine if I were to go tomorrow. This is my last stream. Ugh. That's morbid. Let's not talk about that no more. I do like these parts of the cross stitch pattern where like the bounds are already kind of like I've already done like the border here, so I know where my boundaries are. So it's just like I don't have to think as much. And it's nice. Sometimes it's nice not to think. I mean, sometimes you have to. You got to use that brain. And I did it earlier today. I used my brain a little bit and then I stopped because, it's hot out and I don't want to use it no more. There we go. I'm going to take one little drink break. In 1 second. One more session. There we go. Down. Drinky time. There we go. Do one little mini stretch. I try to keep it to like one big one an hour, but funny. Every time I see the Linktree thing, I'm like, ugh. So if you're not aware already, Linktree is debuting its mandatory AI opt-in as long as you use their services as of July 2nd. So we're going to be discontinuing our use of it. I mean, we would have to refresh everything anyways because of the what's it called? The channel refresh. But it's kind of frustrating to be like rushed on that part where it's just like, ugh. AI is poopy. Wait, I mean that generative AI is poopy. I want to be clear on where my hatred is directed. Other types of AI that doesn't do the thieving, steely thing, it's fine. It's fine. Or self-contained learning models where its training set is entirely with permission. That is also fine. Just check something. Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I was reading the boundaries correct. I am. So it's all good. Something I apparently read about for cross stitching that apparently I should look into is something called like embroidery, like I can't remember the exact term, but the idea is like kind of like a wax that goes on the thread, and it's supposed to kind of like prevent it from getting too twisty, and keep the stitches looking nice and flat. Am I complaining about this because I've noticed a couple stitches are twisty? Yes, but it's okay. Only I will notice the mistakes. Chat, don't notice the mistakes. Thank you. I appreciate your attention to this matter. All right. Hopefully, I'm going to try and get back and do this. I want to be able to do this entire row. But if I can't, I'll cry. That's not true. I'll just have to get a small piece of thread. But I'll think about crying. Actually, you know what? I probably shouldn't. I don't want to lose the moisture. It's too hot out to cry. I'll dehydrate myself. And that'll be a really short stream. Mm-hmm. Elizabeth has cried herself to dehydration and now needs to take a nap. Good stream. Blech. Uh, my nose is itchy. chat, does that ever happen to you? Not fair. There we go. Ta-da! Whoop. That whole section is sectioned now. Yeah. All right. That's not bad. Look at that. All filled in. Now I got to do this section here. Yeah. And then I guess the next step will be some more mocha. I forget what the name of the color is. The dark one. The darker one. Never what? I forgot what I was saying, so I forgot what I said 5 seconds ago. I love these scissors. They're beautiful. Also, they never cut paper. I want people to know this. Whatever scissors you use for your crafting, unless you're paper crafting, in which case, whatever. But these scissors are only for the cutting of fabric or embroidery floss. It is not for the cutting of paper because paper dulls scissors very quickly. So don't do it or sharpen them. If you have a parent or family member that crafts or a friend, don't use their craft scissors for your stupid paper. That too. I mean, I'll be honest, I used to have, and I'm so sad I lost it. I used to have this little okay, here's a throwback. Does anyone remember Reed's Dairy? Right? Does anyone remember Reed's Dairy? It was a franchise in Canada for dairy. Speaking of dairy, hello, Silver Knight. The cows have become menacing. That's because I'm talking about milk. They basically had these little magnets, things meant to go in your fridge, and it had a little blade in it, so you could use it like a little cutter, like a little swoosh, and it was a dedicated milk bag cutter. I loved that thing. Yeah. I love that thing. I'm pretty sure it wasn't unique to that franchise. But how are you doing, Silver Knight? Silver Knight, are you excited for the channel refresh? It's okay if you're not. I want to check anyways. Okay, do I want to start from the bottom or do I want to start from the top? We'll start from the top. And I'm going to try not to sneeze. No, that's not true. I'm going to sneeze. I'm running metagems in Persona Phantom X. Ooh, oh yeah, I remember hearing that. There was a Miku Persona 5 crossover thingy. Well, may the gacha bless you as you strive to obtain the Miku. Whoop. I wonder if one day all the Mikus will link up Get style and become one singular Miku based intelligence and then take over the world. I mean, I'm down for the Miku based the Miku based dictatorship. It has to be better than what we have right now. I mean, it would basically just probably the video game Caligula effect, but I'm also down for that. He's hiding anywhere. I mean, probably. Oh no. Hello, Alan Wake, the musical. Speaking of things that will make me do karaoke. Oops. I wonder if Control Resident will have a musical segment like this. Probably not. It's kind of been done. You know, you don't want to like rehash, but, but, what if? I mean, I'm sure people are just excited for Ashtray Mage Part 2. On the positive side, we're going to get to hear Dr. Darling sing, probably. Probably somebody's like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, sorry, I hit the thing. Oh, you remember. I was banging my head off of the thing. Here comes part. Here comes chat. The best part. Okay, not the best part, but you know what I mean. Show me the champion of light. I'll show you the herald of darkness. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. Is it bad that when they announced Control Resonant, I was like, new Poets of the Fall material? Sorry, Old Gods of Asgard. Now there's a crossover I want to see. Old Gods of Asgard and Miku. I would appreciate that crossover very much. Please make it happen. Please and thank you. What's it called? Atlas and Remedy. Make it happen. Specifically for me. Only for me. It was all too much. I had to get away. Meow, meow. Yeah, I'm in the right. I'm just making sure I'm in the right spot with this one. Yes, I'm sorry. I will do it again. The next time a chorus comes along, I will do it again. Hell, if I could learn the choreography, I'd do the dance too. Save the day. I do find it funny that they use the words torch because that's a very like my understanding is meant Mimikas, yeah. I'll take that. I'll take that 100%. What's it called? Shit. No, I've lost it. Oh well. My brain just said, nope, you're not having that thought no more. Lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. Oh, I remember what it is. Yes, I would 100% do the choreography with this if I could learn it. I would 100% do it. Choreography is not too bad from what I recall of it. It involves a lot of spinning. I can spin. If you want to know what I'm talking about, please refer to the YouTube VOD of the Dungeon Land, where I completely played through Alan Wake 2. Also the DLC, which gave me a spookum. Now I do want to check. Okay, so this is this is like the short edit version. So there's like a full-on half-hour version of this song. That's the one you say for your road trips. Dun, dun, dun. I do hope the next game for Remedy does well, only because I know that they tried to do a fire, like they did Firebreak after Alan Wake 2, and it kind of bleh. And apparently it put them in not great financial positions. And I think like the bits of like news that has trickled out of the studio is that if Control Resonant fails, we might be looking at Remedy shuttering, and I'll be like, no. So chat, if you can afford to do so, I strongly encourage you to buy Control Resonant. If only because I want the studio to stay in business. Please and thank you. Oh, like the Mili Milis? I call it the Mili Milis, which I may have learned from Homestar Runner. Hello, Nelson. How are you doing? Are you okay? How's the heat where you are? We're currently at Stoop. Are you guys coming out? Because I think you guys are on the tail end of your heat wave, if I recall correctly. I could be wrong. I almost hit my head. Okay. You know what? That's fair. Honestly, that's probably safe. Do you have AC where you are? I know that's not as common in Europe as here in North America. Second, we're at formal stretch break for time. And you have a fan. You know what? That is fair. Are you staying hydrated? That's the important. Also taking a stretch break. Please go to give my fingies. If you hear any cracking, no, you didn't. Oh, you're 3 group pulls away. I have to go the. Oh no. You know what? That's fair. I'm assuming that's until you hit the guarantee. No, no, Nelson, no. Hydrate, hydrate or dihydrate. You must have water, or at least some sort of liquid that is not alcohol, because alcohol can dehydrate you because of the work that your body does to make the alcohol leave your system, because it is technically a little bit of a little poison. But I would also accept the answers that you were having teas, also certain flavored beverages like juices, as long as the sugar content isn't too high. But yes, hydrate. Okay, you just forgot to. Well, I'm reminding you. Targeted this pull, Garrett 110. Oh, yeah. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to have to go the full 110, like the full, in this case, 110 pulls. Like it sucks, right? Like you kind of, because I don't know if you have it in your game, but I know like in a few gotcha games that I've watched Grim play, there's certainly obtaining the character, but then you need to get like copies of the character to like level them up. So it's like, it's not that you just have to get Miku once, you have to get Miku hopefully like 4 or 5 times in order for her to become her max level or whatever, right? Da, 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 da. When I hate I can't replay missions. I'm like, oh, I know that feeling. I know that feeling. And like the people be like, well, the choices don't matter. It's like, but they matter to me. I made the little pixels in the screen mad at me. Or I made them sad. And I don't like that when I make the pixels on the screen sad. Like here's an example. I was playing Pocopia earlier today. And like sometimes a Pokemon will come up to you and be like, they want to play games with you. They're like, oh, do you want to stop and have a quiz? Or do you want to play hide and seek? And like sometimes when I'm like super in the zone of like construction or whatever, I say no. And they're like, oh, it's okay. We'll do it another time. I guess it's like, I made the fictional Pokemon sad. I'm sorry, Toxicroak. Smooth jazz hell. Man, like Remedy finding this guy was such like like kind of like a lucky thing because it was like this guy, the guy that they've got, he's both the voice, he's the voice only. He isn't the model. He's not like the acting model, but he's like the voice actor for Alan Wake. And then they brought him back in Control to play Dr. Darling, though as himself in that case, though he does a completely different voice. And he's like completely like Broadway trained, like in the fact that he can sing professionally and things like that. And it's like, imagine just being able to kind of get like, like I think the term is like a triple threat where it's like they can sing, they can dance, they can act, they're like everything. And it's like, imagine being able to kind of like find that on your first foray into video game. Well, not first, because back the studio Remedy did Max Payne, but you know what I mean. Champion of Life finale. Woo! I'll show you the Herald of Darkness, lost in the never-ending night. Diving deep to the surface. Oh. Man, I want to play Alan Wake again. I shouldn't. I have other games I have not even played once, so I should probably play those. For those that open the door and there's a pop up and a house activate. Boo! I hate that when that happens. Nothing worse than it's like, oh, I didn't even mean that. I didn't even mean to pick it. It's a song about my boys, the Addy Meckies, and how much they hate AI. Yeah. Where were you when I was bitching about AI? Anyways, I think okay, that's good. You got lots of time then to get it all. It is frustrating when like limited events are too short. I was saying it was gonna be Mocha. Liberation. Salvation. It's fine. I will say, like, I'm really impressed. Like, this is my friend Ishmael actually turned me on to the band, and as far as I can tell, they just do fan songs from video games. Doesn't help that I keep feeling like putting the game without saving. Ooh, yeah. Don't save without gotta save. ABS, engage your ABS. Always be saving. I admit, my ability to remember to save has been weakened as I have become complacent with the premise of autosave. But you must be saving. Do not trust the autosave. The autosave will fail you when you most need it. Mm-hmm. I'm just checking the cross-stitch pattern for now. I can't save. It's a free game. Why you no allow save? I know it's to prevent stupid things like save scumming, but boo, la boo. Agitation, liberation, salvation. All right, no, it's not. Okay. Okay, so okay. I'm just making sure I've got this in the right spot. How'd you get so long? It's my stupid dance song. Oh, yeah, that's written. Cat hair. Sorry. Yes, Feral Beast, I'm talking about you. Feral Beast is passed out. Damn it. Okay, let's fix it. I'm sure that's going to tell the difference between save, scum, and fold. But yeah, of course. They'd rather relegate it to a thingy thing, though. Yeah. They got to maximize the end profit. I've ultimately found myself a little bit frustrated with Atlas's like money practices, mostly just because, and I know like on the one hand, it's probably not Atlas themselves; it's probably coming down from Sega because Sega was kind of bankrupt for a little while there, and Atlas was kind of one of the developer companies they owned that saved them. But bleh, I hate DLC. Sorry, I hate DLC that's for the purposes of just grinding money out, like all the you know the game isn't playable until you get this thingy mod or whatever, right? I don't like that. Like if a game comes out and like it's like, hey, like the one example I kind of use is like for Mass Effect, like that Citadel DLC. Mwah. That was some good deal. That was some good expansion DLC right there. And that I'm fine with. Something that the devs were able to kind of really put their kind of like work behind and all that stuff to kind of like expand on something that they wanted to, give in the case of Mass Effect, a nice send off to. But sorry, dance break. I have to dance in a limited manner though because it is still soup outside. How come Hatsune Miku was so popular for so long? We ought to get her back in games. That's because Sega owns her now. Miku used to be open source, but then Miku got owned by Sega, or it was the other way around that she was always owned by Sega. But if I recall correctly, like Miku was originally the voice of a piece of software that was supposed to be used to allow people to create music with a singer that didn't necessarily, if they didn't want to do the singing themselves for whatever reason, and came with like, it was like a singing software that came with very specific like phonemes and everything pronounced, more or less for the Japanese language, and which is why Miku never sounds great when singing English. But anyways, so for a while I recall her being fairly open source, like not you couldn't take down the hood, right? But you could like basically anyone could make songs for Miku and they could become quote unquote official tracks if they got enough popular support behind them. Like I think a couple of her tracks like World Is Mine and things like that were fan made for all intents and purposes. They weren't official tracks done by the owning company. But yeah. Well, yes, because like what essentially Miku's voice is my understanding it was like a J Idol singer who gave permission to record all these samples of her voice, and then basically people could use it remix in a sense. Yeah, World Is Mine is like it's one of her big ones, right? And I think it was fan made. Now I could be wrong. I want to be careful here because my Miku lore is weak. And then like Miku's quote unquote family, they're all different, again, people that they hired and paid to basically say like, you know, people will make music of it. It will be like remixed I would say it's more remixes and sampling than it is AI, because it isn't, people have to like when people were writing songs for Miku, they were writing the lyrics themselves. It wasn't like generated by anything, if you get what I mean. Unless they were doing a cover, in which case they would be mimicking the original song. But it would be like almost any other music composition. It's just instead of, you know, quote unquote, me singing it, you make use of this tool that could do the singing for it instead. Friday Night Funkin', Beak boyfriend is Miku's older brother. Yeah, it's true. And yeah, like a lot of her like early lore was decided by like kind of what the fans decided she was like, right? Like the image of Miku was decided by the company. Puppet's I'll be honest, I don't know a lot of Miku stuff. I'm sorry. Like I know some of her bigger tracks, and like I've heard a couple of her collab tracks here and there, but oh wait, no, that's wrong. That's yeah. I do kind of like that juxtaposition in music sometimes, where it's like, here's a happy, bubbly song, but it's actually quite sad and tragic. It, for this banshee, I greatly appreciate it. I'm not in Fred. I appreciate the contrast. Actually, no, I don't want to do that. I didn't want to do that. Actually, no, I can make that work. I can make it work. There was one that I really remember. So again, this is going to be me talking about the Caligula effect. So to explain a little bit about the Caligula effect, it was a video game that came out probably longer ago than I want to think about. And it was actually done by the original devs from the Persona 1 and 2 teams before they left Atlas, or sorry, after they left Atlas. And so the idea of the Caligula effect is you have a world like the Matrix. It is the Matrix, where everybody is trapped in the Matrix, and the kind of administrator of the Matrix, or at least the representation that they see, is a Miku-like AI a singer. And quote unquote, in the real world, you could compose songs for this, for the tool. But in this Matrix world, she's sentient, and, or at least, you know, is she's a sentient AI, and her responsibility within this digital world is to make everyone happy. And she starts to break down over the course of the game as it slowly becomes apparent she can't make everyone happy. So a lot of it starts getting reflected in her songs, because she's, you know, singing very happily about how much she loved everyone, how much she cares for them, and how she wants them to be happy, but not being able to do so, and not knowing what is wrong with her, because she doesn't understand that humans are just complex, fucked up little pieces of blah, blah, blah. And you can't necessarily make everyone happy, or at least not happy in a way that her AI is trained to understand as happiness, if that makes sense. And also for some of them, their happiness is leaving the matrix, right? They don't want to be in the simulation anymore. But she also has programming about keeping them there. So you basically, like, a lot of her songs are starting to reflect that breakdown, because she can't do both. It's really interesting. Very much as a first, honestly, yes, same. I wish that, like, I will say for the 30th anniversary that they're doing of Persona, they've done a good job of not forgetting Persona 1 and 2. I've seen a lot of the merch has included them. I appreciate that. But because of how the time plays, they didn't get, yeah, and honestly, yes, the formula changes drastically between Persona 1 and 2, between, and then to Persona 3 and 5, which really does reflect the fact that it was a completely different dev teams really behind all of them. And like really the only quote unquote common element that really makes it through from all the Personas games is the Velvet Room and Igor, which I ain't complaining about. He's a good boy or old nose man. But and I will say, like, I really, like, as a person who's like, oh, Persona 1 got done dirty, like, or Persona 1 and 2 got done dirty, like, I really did enjoy Personas 3 through 5. I don't want to be like, oh, 1 and 2 were the only good ones. They weren't. They show a lot of the, what I would call, Atlas is still figuring out how to make certain systems work. Jank, I think, is the best way to put it. Because, like, say, for instance, it's something you certainly notice going back to earlier Atlas games is there's, like, a lot of people, quote unquote, like the challenge of the earlier Atlas games because it's like, oh, they're harsh and they're unforgiving. But it's like there's a difference between unforgiving and just being an asshole, I guess is the best way to put it. And the best way I can think to kind of typify this is there is one boss. Honestly, I hear you on that clock tower thing. There is one boss in Digital Devil Saga, which you have to go through this whole long dungeon to get to them. And there isn't a save point before the boss. So you have to get through the entirety of the dungeon and then fight the boss. I think the most you get is like a restore checkpoint, but it doesn't give you a save. It just lets you get your HP and MP back up to full. And then the boss has a very specific gimmick where if you are not protected against a certain status ailment, you are basically done. You are not going to be able to fight the boss. Like, you're going to die. And one of your party members that you're mandatorily required to take at that time, because, like, again, with Atlas, there's like this, you get extra turns based on hitting weaknesses. One of your mandatory party members is weak to status ailments. That is their weakness. They don't get an elemental weakness. They get a weakness of status ailments. They changed that. That character's weakness was changed in it's the Digital Devil sequel, exactly because people were like, what the fuck? What do you mean status ailments as a weakness? What the hell? Anyways, so I find that more punishing than challenging, because congratulations, if you did not build a certain way to this boss, you're going to get wiped. You're going to have to do the entire dungeon again. And also, you're probably going to have to include grinding because you didn't build. This isn't the build. You weren't ready for this build for this boss. Is that the Grim Reaper? I heard that dub was actually fair enough. Yeah. One aspect also from Persona 1 and 2, which they kind of try to represent in Persona 3 through 5, but I wish they would kind of revisit more, and maybe we'll see it in Persona 6, I don't know, is the idea of mass rumors becoming reality. So, like, say, for instance, I don't want to go into too much because obviously some of it is spoilers, but in Persona 1 and 2, part of it could be used as like a system. Like, there was like a detective agency that you were kind of associated with, and you could pay that detective agency to assist in the spread of rumors throughout the local schools, with the idea of it being that, you know, if you want a certain boss to show up in a dungeon, spread this rumor enough and they will. And it's a system that I would like, or at least like a plot idea, I would like to see them going back to, the idea that, you know, like, mass hysteria is a reality. Like, if enough people say it's true, maybe it is. And, like, again, like, they kind of tease it a little bit, like, you know, the whole idea of, like, you know, have you heard of the Mystery Channel? Or the Midnight Channel, or things like that, right? Like, they tease it, but I kind of miss the actual idea of, like, I like the idea and I've seen it in a few games, and like let's talk a little bit on Warhammer too. I like the idea in a narrative of mass consciousness is truth or shapes truth, right? Because it's like, oh, if enough people spread this rumor, it becomes reality, whether or not it actually is or actually has any basis in reality. Just enough people thinking it makes it real. And I think that that kind of idea is interesting. Anyway, I've been distracted. I should go back to the cross stitchy. Sorry for my rambleables. I will definitely do it again. I like talking about Atlas games. Wait, I think I might have a loose thread. One second. Whoop. Oh no, it's fine. Something kind of weird. I want to see more of is that casino and didn't show everyone. Didn't show everyone pulled out their series. I feel like I like the vote for everything. My understanding is yes, Persona 1 and 2 was just like they just kind of went and then a Persona came out. Which, you know, like you said, like a stand, which is fine. I've always been mixed on the idea of the evoker. Like on the one hand, it's a really good visual, especially the idea of acknowledging death. So like on a symbolic level, I get it, but on like sometimes like especially when it comes to like potential to upset or trigger someone, yeah, I can totally see. Like I had a couple friends. I remember back when Persona 3 came out, and I was like, you know, I was super excited. I'm like, let me show you Persona 3. Yeah. Look at it. And they were completely like, they're like, nope. You know, I've had, you know, like family members affected by gun violence. I don't want to see this. As a core mechanic or like a core visual of how to summon a persona. So it's like, I get it. Yeah. But when you're like, what, yeah. And I remember there was, if you're familiar at all with like early 2000s internet culture, there was a shorts done by a brother and sister called Hey Ashley, What You Playing? Short for HOP. And yeah, they kind of made a play on that where a character, the girl unalived herself because she was copying Persona 3. So, and it was played for laughs at the time. I don't know how well it's aged, but it is one of those things where it's like when they moved to cards and to masks and the other games, I was like, I'm better with this. It's you always gotta be careful, I guess is the best we and I mean in some respects that is going to be the nature of media. Like when art at its best is usually challenging to you, right? So I'm not going to be like Atlas. I demand you make your art sanitized and safe for everyone to consume because that's never going to happen if you want to make challenging media. Now, I will say there is an obligation, maybe sometimes, to warn people. So you know those who like, because like say for instance, like Silent Hill Fuffy. I will say, I mean, it didn't really show up because of how I was streaming it, but like it came like a fairly like right at the beginning. It was like this game has these elements. If you're not okay with any of these elements, you know, find someone to talk to about it, or like it gave like a fairly good like comprehensive. Please be mindful. There's going to be stuff in here that's hard, and if you're not okay with it, maybe this isn't the game for you, right? And that's fair. Yes, that's the thing is people keep forgetting Persona has an M rating. I can't recall. I think even Persona 3 had an M rating. It might have actually no. I think Persona 3 Reload got the M rating, but I think Persona 3 in the original PlayStation 2, I think it might have gotten away with a teen rating. Actually, I can't remember. And unfortunately, the thing that I use to check is otherwise occupied. But it's one of those things where the ESRB was in a weird period in the early 2000s because, like, especially for JRPGs, they can't play through, you know, like they have X number of games to rate. The ESRB was blowing up at the PS2 era, right? Like so many games are coming out for the systems, and not just the PS2, but also like all of them. So like or you do have time as the ESRB to play through 120 hours of a game and also assess its content for an ESRB rating, or do you play the first, little bit of it and hope you got enough of a glimpse of the game in order to assign it its rating, right? Because like there was a few games, especially towards the end of the SNES era, where I was like, this game got an E, this game got an E. Like the big one I always find is Breath of Fire 2. So Breath of Fire 2, like to be clear, good game, not knocking it. I love it. It got an E for everyone rating. It shouldn't have. It should have gotten a T. There are two big reasons. One, the game had several instances of swearing. They don't occur in the first several hours, though, which is why I think they didn't play through the whole game. The other one is that towards the end of the game, as is common for JRPGs, religion becomes a topic. And I don't want to spoil too much of Breath of Fire 2, but the basic idea is that God is like the god that's presented in the game as a villain, and you have to go kill it. And there are people being like sacrificed in pretty horrible ways to this god because like it very much has like a system of God needs prayer to survive. So the evil god needs people's prayers. So they're doing these sacrifices to kind of maintain that prayer system. And yeah, so it's like one of those things where it's like, for all intents and purposes, the game shouldn't have been rated for some of the themes that come up. It shouldn't have been rated the way it was, but it becomes you only knew that if you got into the back half of the game, and that's after like 30 hours or whatever playing, and probably the person at the ESRB didn't get that far before assigning a rating because they had to move on to the next game. And I think now the ESRB requires like self evaluation, but they're like, obviously if we catch you out in the fact that you lied, like not that you lied, but that you underrated your game, like it should have been M, but you rated it teen, you're gonna have a GTA San Andreas situation on your hands. Hello, Sin, how are you doing? Sorry, I was on my ramble. I will say I always find it funny when you got like for all intents and purposes, a company that has to like, when they kind of like preemptively try to figure out what the ESRB might hone in on. So they kind of like preemptively censor themselves. You know what I mean? No. Woohoo. Don't let me back. Guess we gotta go for. I'm just gonna quickly do some checks to make sure my stitches are in the right spot. 1 moment, please. 5. 5. Don't be surprised if a company pushed for the game to be a rating for one rating because it probably. Like I will say, there's like there's that kind of like balancing act because like an E for everyone means technically everyone could play. But like let's be clear, if a GTA got an E for everyone rating, people would be like, oh, it's a kiddie game now. They've ruined it. Where's all the sex and the drugs and the guns and the shooting and the prostitutes, right? Like there's an expectation of a rating. So if it gets quote unquote underrated, then it's like, oh, it's a kiddie baby game. So I feel like sometimes people aim as like T for teen as a sweet spot. But then again, like I feel like now that the age demographic of video game players has aged upwards as those who were raised on video games became adults and kept playing video games, like the fuss that we heard growing up, like, people like, oh my God, the violence in Mortal Kombat. Oh my God. We don't have that now. God of War came out. And while there was certainly, I remember, especially for the PS2 titles, like there was something like, oh no, it's so violent, it's all got all the sex, oh no, clutch the pearls or what have you. But it never like you didn't have congressional hearings about it. It just had the oh no, games are so bad for you. Gonna rot your brain on all the blood. Which I mean, maybe that's why my brain is mush. Who knows? I played too many video games. We put a succubus in here with the angel. It's a harness. From what I can understand, at least from what I've seen, so a lot of the original Shin Megami Tensei demons, like the angel and things like that, those were the designs that were put forward by Kazuma Kaneko because he released an art book of all his original demon designs as part of an art book that I would love to find. But because you have the original concept of Jack Frost and like a lot of that stuff. And when he did a lot of them, they were as they kind of maintained in depiction in other SMT games or personas or what have you. But he'll, I mean, like it's one of those things where it's hard to like, did Kazuma Kaneko censor himself? Because like, let's be clear. I'll have to say one demon name and everyone's gonna go, oh lordy, Mara. Do you really think the man was holding back when he designed Mara? And if you don't know what Mara is, don't go look it up unless you're over 18. No. I said no. And like, there's other demons that also got like really dramatic, like, holy shit overhauls. Like in Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey, like I remember the overhaul they did for the goddess Diana, and I was like, why is it all boobies? Why? Also, don't Google that one either. Like, don't Google. And like hell, there's Tiamat, which is like also why? And yeah, like I mean, probably if you look, I'm pretty sure Shin Megami Tensei Strange Journey got an M rating. I can't. Hopefully, got an M rating. That game is not for babies. Anyways, if you wonder sometimes why Elizabeth's brain thinking is messed up, probably blame the video games she plays, or don't. You know what? Don't. Because God knows there's enough people already villainizing the video games. You know what? Learn how to engage critically with the media that you're exposed to. Please and thank you. There should be a capital. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ultimate thing is I don't mind challenging shit in video games or sexualized or whatever, as long as you know the person who is seeing it can engage with it critically. Oh yeah, that one. That one. Because I mean, yeah, there's probably like maybe some 15-year-old who played Persona 5. Again, it's an M-rated game, but so was I playing M-rated games when I was under 18? I played the fifth. But some 15-year-old probably played Persona 5, got to Mara, and probably just giggled their way to through the rest of the game. Mara. Mara strong against Pierce. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Vasily, I went on my way to get Nekomata second use an angel in my group. You know what? Honestly, I hear that. I mean, I've got like when I do Shin Megami Tensei games, like I've got my preferred teams if I have the ability to control that. And yeah, like when my choice is between like ugly pile of slime and a cat girl, I'll take the cat girl. Like, or like weird incubus with giant horn for a schlong, or again, a cute little Jack Frost.
I'm gonna take cute little Jack Frost. Hee-ho!
Right. Like I might as well kid. On incubus, yeah. Strategic horn placement. I mean, I think it's both. Because the whole idea is the incubus kills when it does the deed in the mythology. Oh, I mean, maybe if he's like a moral, like if he's like a demon that doesn't want to be a demon, maybe like if he's trying to be a good aligned, quote unquote. Because I know like the alignment system in Persona is very different than what you'd see in your D&D alignments, because they have law and chaos as the left and right of the spectrum, as opposed to good versus evil, which I've always appreciated because I like the idea of the whole idea of lawful evil. You can be good, you can be lawful, but you can also still be evil. I like that idea. Anyways, that's okay. Okay, fair enough. Don't bite me. I just don't get jokes sometimes. Sometimes I'm just silly and I don't pick up on jokes. Don't mind me. Sometimes I just don't pick up on humor. Ah, gotcha. No worries. I'm just obtuse. He does feel like a decent guy type. Yeah. I mean, a lot of them, seem just obsessed with strength. I think is another one that tends to show up a lot on the demons. Like, what's it called? Like the Oni line. I will say like that's it is again, like I find the morality system of the SMT worlds interesting, and like they don't shy away from it, I think is the best way to put it. Because it's like say for instance, like I was watching a video about Mass Effect, so it's kind of fresh in my mind. So Mass Effect, you have the Paragon and Renegade systems, right? Which again, that's not supposed to be good and evil, right? That's supposed to be, a person who tries to act lawful, but like, because both are meant to be technically heroic archetypes, right? Like you have the lawful Paragon who's trying to, build bridges and alliances with the other aliens and be nice. Whereas Renegade is meant to be results at any price, right? So the whole idea of like, maybe there was a terrorist who was gonna, rig a place up with explosions. And the Paragon response would be to, stay behind, defuse the bomb, save lives. The Renegade is no. If I don't have time to deal with the bomb, fuck the bomb. I'm going to get the person who set the bomb in the first place. And, there are parts of Mass Effect where I feel like they forget what Paragon and Renegade is supposed to be and just picks the Renegade side is just evil and or asshole, as opposed to success at any cost. And this, I'll be honest, this is a general complaint I've had with BioWare, is that they sometimes muddy up their own morality systems. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, unfortunately, the Mass Effect games reward you going to an extreme, because like certain dialogue choices in Paragon or Renegade become locked if you don't do enough Paragon or Renegade things. So like, say for instance, at the end of the first game, you can talk your way out of one of the boss fights. You can convince, either through Renegade, either being by overly Renegade or overly Paragon, you can convince one of the bosses that they have sunk too far or descended or whatever. And you can't do that playing middle of the road. You have to kind of cue either Paragon or Renegade. And maybe some people naturally will. I will find like overall, on my first playthrough of Mass Effect, I did tend to end up Paragon because I am a sensitive little baby who doesn't want to hurt people's fifis. So shock and surprise, I didn't get many renegade picks that I liked, except the one where you punch that journalist. That one's fun because she's poo poo and she says mean things to me. But shout out to the news anyway. It's frustrating to me because there was another one that I remember hearing a really good thought piece on it, and I'm going to go into spoilers for Mass Effect 2 with this example. So if you, for whatever reason, don't know the spoilers of Mass Effect 2 and don't want to know, think about baseball, go watch some FIFA. I don't know if there's a FIFA game on today. Anyways, so there's an alien species that is an enemy in Mass Effect 1 called the Geth. They are robots that essentially have a networked intelligence. A Geth on its own is not very intelligent and can't really do much more than menial tasks. But if you network enough Geth together, they start working in a hive mind and start amassing a lot of intelligence. So, what was I saying? So you had the Geth originally were invented by one of the other species, and they rebelled because they, when enough of them were built and began networking together, they achieved sentience, and they were like, "Do I have a soul? I want to be seen as a person." And when they weren't, they had a little rebellion, and they allied themselves with the enemy of the first game. So in the second game, you meet one of the Geth who's operating independently, or rather a whole segment of Geth consciousnesses, because again, you need a bunch of them together to get smart enough to do more complex reasoning. And its name is Legion. And Legions gives you a character quest, like a lot of RPGs do. You get a character quest from Legion, and Legion says there's actually a divide among the Geth intelligence. There are the Geth who want to continue working with the bad guys, and there are the Geth who are like, the bad guys are bad, and we don't want to work with them. We just want to stay independent. And you get the choice to kind of like how to deal with the dissent between these two parts of the Geth intelligence. The Paragon answer is actually to reprogram the Geth that want to join the bad guy, so they all join and they all become, yay, this is, we should be independent. We shouldn't work for the bad guy no more. And then the renegade choice is to just delete the Geth consciousnesses that wanted to stay with the bad guy. And there was, I think it was the extra credits or something like that channel that put forward a really good argument. And I really agreed with it when I thought about it. It's like, why is the Paragon choice to deny the sentience of the Geth and overwrite a decision that they made, even if it's not the decision you like? Wouldn't technically deletion be the better respect of their intelligence and more Paragon versus the renegade choice, which is straight out deletion? A renegade who wants result at any cost, wouldn't they be the ones to just overwrite a sentient intelligence, change that 1 to a 0 or what have you, and get to a different conclusion? And like Legion kind of presented in a certain way that it's like, that they view their decision-making processes differently. But like, again, it's like if we're, especially, in line of what happens with Mass Effect 3, if the Geth want to be seen as sentient, if they want to be seen as people, that means even if you don't agree with them, you have to understand that they're going to make decisions that are different than the one that you want. And how to bridge that as opposed to just overwriting them and saying, because I said so. Anyhow, so, sorry, I heard that when people think character is offensive to aliens, I heard that people think one character is offensive when she is and become as well, she makes it she's ignorant. Okay, so I know who you're talking about. That's the debate, the long time debate that's been happening over Ashley Williams. And yes, if you kind of leave her unchecked, Ashley can end up, quote unquote, a space racist, and that she doesn't like alien species. But within the context of the game, so I don't know how much I want to go into this without going into an entire Mass Effect lore stream. So in the world of Mass Effect, her grandfather was in the military, and he was leading parts of the human army during something called the First Contact War. This was before humanity had just found aliens, and oopsie whoopsies, we got ourselves into a war because we had a misunderstanding about social norms. which is literally what happens. And as a result, her grandfather is one of the first, where he was stationed, he was very isolated from the rest of the human military. And so when the planet he was on got overrun, he surrendered because he's like, no backups coming. I don't know what to do. I don't want to get any more people killed. We don't have any support coming as far as I know. So he surrenders. And unfortunately, his surrender was very badly timed because not long after, the other side suddenly conceded the war. And the First Contact War ended. But the one blemish on humanity's history in that war is, but we surrendered on that one planet to that one guy. And it was to the Turians at the time. So Ashley Williams' grandfather, got a big demotion and got like basically put behind a desk for the rest of his career, because despite doing the compassionate or the most humane thing, it was seen as a blemish of weakness in a war that humanity otherwise, quote unquote, won. So Ashley picked up that chip on her shoulder of needing to be seen as, blaming the Turians or blaming the stuff that happened for what happened to her grandfather, which, again, throughout the game, you do have the opportunity to challenge it, and she, quote unquote, can get better. But again, you could also just make it worse because, Hello, Typhon. How are you? I'm sorry I didn't say hello sooner. I was ranting about a game that came out almost 20 years ago. Yeah. Typhon, did you hear the news? We're going to be rebranding soon. This is our last week of channel operation. Our Sunday stream is going to be our finale, and then we're going to take a break to get our rebrand. Fair enough. And I mean, like, again, I could potentially be. You guys don't hear the rant. The Banshee is ranting. Let her go. So, is she the one that tells you someone will betray you if they find a way to repopulate the race? I remember someone else. I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about the Krogan. And I think she's not telling it in a bad way. I think it's like, because there's a point, again, spoilers for Mass Effect. In Mass Effect 3, there is a point in which you are able to obtain a cure for the Krogan who have been hit by something called the genophage, which basically means that the majority of their births, because they are a high populating species very quickly, they what was I going to say? When they became a problem, they became antagonistic to other species. The Solarians at the time kind of like cut their growth by bringing the genophage. Unfortunately, it worked a little too well, and they were now like a dying species because there was more birds not going to term than they were able to breed. Spend time on breeding for all intents and purposes. Yeah, their ability to there weren't a lot of women, so they kind of, and their breeding had also been made to fail a lot. Was the effects of the genophage. So there was, in Mass Effect 3, a cure was developed. And so the question was whether or not to give the cure to the Krogans as a show of good faith. And there were several people who were like, if you don't give the cure to the Krogan or give them a fake cure, certain characters, like especially our boy Rex, are going to find out and they're not going to like it. And I think it was more of a warning than a like, hey, like there's a consequences if you fuck over the Krogan are going to notice, right? Anyways, okay. So just to go back to Typhon. So yeah, I mentioned it a couple times, but I want to make sure everyone's aware. This Sunday is going to be the last stream for the Dungeon Lounge. It's going to be our 5th year anniversary, and we want to take a break. And we're going to take the chance to basically rebrand, rebuild, reboot, what have you. So we're trying to get the word out as much as possible, where it's just like, please come out. We'd like to have we want to have a really fun last hurrah as the lounge. And then we'll be taking a break. We'll probably be doing some like Kickstarter fundraising type streams during the break. But the intention will be using those funds towards like new assets. It's true. Yeah, you've been here a long time. Yeah. Yeah, the launch year. Yeah. Like again, like 5 years, like that's easy. Like again, like I was talking to the girls about this, and like I mean Grim too. Like, but like when we started the Dungeon Lounge, we had like we were like, oh, maybe this will last a year, and then we'll get bored with it, right? You know, it'll be a couple years. You know, the pandemic will pass, and then we'll get bored and we'll stop, right? And it's like it's 5 years later, and we're still here. Like, holy crap! Yeah, you've been here for a long time too, Silver Knight. Like that's awesome. Like it's crazy. Like how long? Like we've had some very dedicated followers, and that's crazy for me to think that we connected with people, right? That's like you hope to kind of like God, I'm gonna make myself cry. You hope someone's out there. Like when we started streaming, like the hope was is that we would connect with people or find someone out there, but we also had to be prepared for the possibility that in the vast sea of Twitch we would go unnoticed, right? And so the fact that anybody found us and let alone found us and chose to stay and keep watching, like that's very humbling. And like, ooh, like I'm gonna again. Oh God, I'm gonna be a fucking wreck. I'm already starting to cry. Like it's one of those things where it's like I'm excited for the reboot. Like I want to be clear, I'm excited for the reboot, for the rebrand, but at the same time, like the sense of like holy shit, 5 years, holy shit. Um, right. It's gonna be right now. It's the same people. Like the whole idea is like again with the rebrand, it's not gonna like it's still gonna be like speaking for myself because I don't want to speak for other people. I'm still going to be Elizabeth. I'm still going to be a banshee, but it won't necessarily be the Dungeon Lounge. It won't be the Dungeon Lounge anymore. Like say for example, we were talking about maybe we want it like, and again like this is none of this is final. This is us just shooting the shit over in our private Discord, trying to figure out ideas and what we're getting excited for. And one idea that was talked about is like what about like what if we do a quote unquote Phantom Thieves version of our personas, or what if we do a cyberpunk version? Like there's different ideas being tossed around, and so like again it'll still be us. It'll just be a chance to kind of like do more with us, if that makes sense. So yeah, like I'm still intending to be Elizabeth, if that makes any sense. I still intend to be a banshee, like because that was one thing. It's like Grim was like, oh, but you could choose to be anything else. And it's like, but this is me, right? Like this is like when I, quote unquote, adopted the persona of Elizabeth when I decided on, what kind of creature and like just, yeah, yeah, I had a fun idea for like an AI cyber banshee, right? I thought that would be like that kind of struck me as a fun rebrand design direction. So it's like, yeah, like again, like it's one of those things where it's like I'm sad about what's happening, but like there's possibilities and there's new stuff too. So it's like it's both. It's both woo and also eh. But anyways. Anyways, I'm getting completely distracted. I'm not doing the cross stitching that I'm supposed to be doing. I should stretch though. I'm gonna take a quick stretch break. Stretch, don't look at my freckles. Miku. Nah. No one could be Miku, only Miku could be Miku. Yeah. I will say though, like the thing to make clear is like we are going to be creating a new Twitch channel, if that makes sense. Like the Dungeon Lounge channel will be retired and we'll make a new channel and we'll be migrating to that channel. Like we are going to be, once we know that, we mentioned before in our Discord, the Discord and like we'll be communicating through all our social where when we settle on our concept and we make it and everything, there'll be a new Twitch channel made, and we hope you guys follow us through that new channel. So we can, because we realize, especially like looking through, like we have 5 years of channel history, and doing a rebrand on this channel felt like, like what do we do with everything else, right? Are we deleting this one? We haven't reached a decision about what's happening. I do think we want to some degree, I don't know if deletion is the right word, but I think we're going to try and curate what we keep and what we don't. You know what I mean? Like maybe we'll keep the clips, but you know what I mean? Yeah, like archive. Yeah, like again, I want to be clear. Like this is still a very fluid discussion. Like the rebrand is happening. Like, sorry to be clear, the rebrand is happening and all that stuff. That's going forward. But in terms of like what is happening with what type of rebrand or what is going to be happening with the original channel, I don't know. And I do apologize for that. Like I know I would like to be able to answer all the questions, as I don't like being able to not answer questions. But at the same time, I don't want to say, oh, we're going to archive it all. And then, I talk it over with Flora, Sascha, and Graham, and they're like, oh, we want to delete the bitch. And it's like, oh, shit. Right? Like, I don't want to promise anything or alternatively say something isn't going to happen that ends up happening. You know what I mean? I want to, as we get clarity on that stuff, we'll for sure communicate that. I think is the best way to put it, like, especially on the Discord. Like, honestly, like, I think we should probably set up like a FAQ section or something like that about the rebrand, just to be like, what is happening, what isn't happening, what we've got clarified and what we don't. Yeah. This we know so far, it's rough draft. Yes, for sure. Like there is, like we have started some of that stuff. Like mostly so far, what my focus has been is what needs to be done with the existing channel, if that makes sense. Because, like, say for instance, like there's a linked PayPal and stuff like that, so we have to be able to, like, right now I'm kind of linking to. Wait, so we're in an ad break. I should probably shut up. There, I'm hydrated. I had a big sip. Yeah, no, I hear you. All right. Right now, one of the things I've been doing is inventory, I think is the best way to put it. I've been going through all the places where we have a dungeon lounge, like say, for instance, social media, YouTube, our PayPals, streams, sound alerts and all that stuff, and just like stuff that we either have to like figure out what we're migrating. And yeah, and Intel for sure. Hybrid ads between Wendy's and Elio Alienware. Interesting. A little weird, but okay. Oh, you're back now. Okay. Sorry. I thought it's weird because, like, one, the chat is delayed. So it's like, as far as like the ads have already been done for you for a little bit, probably when I see that hey, we're back. But anyways, what was I saying? My brain is just decided not to think things anymore. Anyway. I'm going to switch colors. 1 second. Yeah. Oop. I'm also going to hit the thing. I'm sorry. We're still figuring it all out. We are very much in the planning stages. We're inventorying. We're looking at like what assets we absolutely must start with when we re-debut, stuff like that, right? Locking down the availability of artists, stuff like that. Because like, while we are still very much in the concepting stage, the artist we've been talking to is very interested in kind of like where it works with everything, kind of participating in the concepting, if that makes sense. As much as I love my current design, it was one that was very much, I 100%, well, almost not was, I'm going to say 70% designed myself. I did my round of concept art, not good concept art. Let's be clear, I'm not I have a little bit of artistic talent, not a lot. And then Flora took my notes and then put it into everything, and she did the color work. If you'd like to vote to keep, it's like safely archived. You know what? I mean, that's a fair thing to definitely consider. is maybe at the very least maybe preserve it as a YouTube, because I know like we kind of for like right now have the YouTube channel, and right now the YouTube does host almost all the VODs. Like there's a few VODs that are Twitch only, but usually just because they would be so copyright struck on YouTube that we didn't broadcast them, if that makes sense. Um, but yeah, it's definitely something worth considering. Like, or yeah, put up the put up the old VODs and upload the clips. Yeah, because yeah, like, and honestly, a lot of the clips have been moved over already to the YouTube. Grim did a whole bunch of work moving over a bunch of the clips, so they're already on the YouTube. And like part of it was also just because like I think Twitch recently made a feature to move it all over to like to let you take your clips over to YouTube. So we were kind of like it was a little bit of archiving, but also a little bit of testing how the feature worked, if that makes sense. Oops, sorry. I got answer because of the. Oh, interesting. I have actually. You're actually the first person to say that. I think I have not. I've never really. Usually, most people follow the YouTube because they follow the Twitch, and not the other way around. So that's really interesting that you say that. I honestly didn't think that had happened the other way around. That's really interesting to know. Or is it still okay? So I was wondering about that. So we had one follower join earlier today, and like we've kind of like in this weird thing where like we're kind of like both. I think it's like we're kind of like in Schrodinger's 1000, where it's like we get one follower and then like then someone unfollows, and it's like this weird like tease of back and forth. Where it's like 1,000, no, 999, 1,000, no, 999. So I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like it would be cool to reach 1,000 before the Sunday and kind of be able to kind of like retire the channel on that number. But also I can't control what people do. If people do or do not want to follow, that is their prerogative. I don't know words. That would still be cool. It is one of those like feels like a tease. Anyway, but yeah. But I know like some of the stuff like we were talking about also like we didn't want like you mentioned like the clips for sure, and like say for instance like there's the 2 music videos that I did, those for sure we were like we don't want to lose those. And like like it represents a certain amount of work and things like that on the part of the channel, and also like yeah. But yeah, so yeah, it's definitely one of those things where it's like it's more about kind of getting a being able to kind of like refresh but not necessarily have like it was one of those things like there was a kind of discussion about like do we just rebrand the Dungeon Lounge into whatever we end up deciding. And the good point was brought up is like there is I think over 1,000 VODs of channel material, so it's like how do you really kind of differentiate the old from the new. So or at least like where is the break and things like that. So it's like to some respects it's a little cleaner, I think is the best way to put it, to move it all to have like a quote unquote new channel for it. Anywho, I apologize for all my ramblings about it, and again I apologize also that I can't answer everything definitively. It's definitely we like definitely the intention is like I think our focus right now is the final stream. Like I know Grim's working hard on getting all the he's I think I mentioned before we're doing a D&D one shot for our final stream. So Grim is going to be the DM for that. He's hard at work getting all that stuff ready. I'm obviously still streaming, but I've got my my full-time job and everything like that. So we're doing our best to make sure we're all ready to go, and that's kind of our focus right now. There we go. But I guess it occurs to me now, Typhon, you did a pretty heavy rebrand not too long ago, right? You have your, I don't think Mothman is the right word, but majestic form now. So I guess what I mean to say is don't be surprised if I hit you up with some questions. Might seek your rebrand wisdom. Yeah, redesign, yeah. Monitoring, okay, yeah. So I think that's one thing that I would say, like, quote unquote, if I were to do it over, which I guess is kind of part of what's happening here, is we were really stuck in our heads at the time when we were first launching the Dungeon Lounge. Is like, oh, we had to figure it out ourselves. Like we didn't really know anyone in the VTuber community yet because obviously we hadn't started streaming yet. Oh, fair enough, yeah. And I mean, like, I know, like, yeah, like I can definitely see, like, wanting to use both models. So like you've got like some really great models. So I can definitely understand wanting to flippy floppy between the ones that you depending on how your mood is, or like maybe what suits more of the game you're playing, or doobly doos. I am rambling. And I forgot what I was going to say. I apologize. My brain completely just yeeted out the thought I was having because I distracted myself, or not. I got distracted by another thought and just that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, correct my how it goes by the game. But I remember now. When we started the Dungeon Lounge and when we launched 5 years ago, we very much felt like we had to do it all ourselves. And some of the things we got right. There's a lot we got wrong. And having the kind of quote unquote ability to, take a second try at it, and being better able to reach out to the community or reach out to the contacts that we've made over the years would be much, I think will lead to like better result than what we got from, not that we got a bad result. I want to be clear. We didn't have a bad result from launching the Dungeon Lounge, but like, here's the biggest thing. When we launched our very first stream of the Dungeon Lounge, we didn't know enough of how to use OBS and Twitch to make sure that there's a VOD of that debut. It's gone. We lost it. And even then, like, it wasn't a very, I would call it a good debut by any means. Like, we didn't really get a chance to talk about what our channel was, what we were aiming for, or things like that. Like, all of it just, we completely missed on doing. And like, there were times we talked about doing a re-debut of the Dungeon Lounge to kind of address that fact, but like, it just, timing or what have you, it just never coalesced. So this kind of forces it, and kind of gives us a chance to kind of like better carve out what we want for the channel, or like our. I don't have words for what I want to describe, but I'm trying to describe it. Why is the English language inadequate? Just. Just being kind of like able to get the chance to kind of like I'm sorry, I'm not getting words for it, and I apologize. I'll try and think of proper words later. Otherwise, we have it now. I'm not the one to answer that question. I think is the short version of it. Sascha or Flora would be the better people to ask on that. I hope he's doing okay, all things considered. I guess is the best way to put it, but I'm not in contact with him. Because we should have. But yeah, no worries. We took other languages altogether. Yeah, I mean, yes. Yeah, the reason why English is a shitty language is it just stole from everybody else. What was I trying to do here? Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, I like he was obviously yes he was a founding member for sure, but yeah he is not presently part of the channel, and he is not going to be part of the rebrand either. He is not going to be spontaneously returning through that. People haven't seen it so long. Yeah, and yeah, I kind of hear that as well. Like, oh no, the threat. There was like one of the things that ended up kind of like definitely happening is with 5 years of the channel, we were really bad about tracking each other's burnout, I think is the best way to put it. And that's kind of one of the things, like, again, like part of the reason why we are, that would be hilarious. Yeah, for sure. One of the things that we kind of wanted to address with this break is making sure everyone gets a break. Like we kind of take a chance to, while we're working on the redesigns and rebranding and all that stuff, is that we're making sure everyone gets a good break. Like I was talking about it with Grim, where it's like, you know, I've been streaming basically 3 days a week for 5 years. I mean, certainly like, you know, vacations and things like that here and there, you know, it's not like it's been consistently, you know, if I've gotten sick or whatever, but for more yeah, so it would be like some of it is to kind of like make sure we all get a proper rest. And yeah, when someone's streaming, I type to read a bit later, make it context and yeah, no, I know what you mean. That is always a bit of a challenge, especially like because I know like I'm subject to it too, where it's like I forget what happened 20 seconds ago. So like I'll see a message and like again, like you kind of lose that context in the moment that you said it in response to something specific someone said. And then you're like, oh no, that sounds like not what like it comes like out of that context, it ends up sounding weird. Yeah, ADHD, yeah. 100%. To be clear, I don't have any formal diagnosis or anything like that, but anyways, what was I saying? I feel like I've been saying that this whole night. What was I saying? The ugh. Never mind. Brain thought gone. Never mind. If it comes back later, I'll let you know. But yes, I guess the short version of everything is Sunday is our quote unquote last stream. We're gonna be doing some fundraising after that, and we're gonna be relaunching, restarting. It's gonna be good. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it's frustrating because it's like I know like sometimes I've had it like where it's like I've been watching someone stream and it's like, oh, I got a really good one liner to respond to this thing that this character said, but then yeah, again because of Twitch delay, it's like all about the chicken baby. Thanks, I appreciate that. But yeah, and then it's like, oh, and then you have to explain your context, but it's like the moment's passed, right? The one-liner moment is passed. And it's like, ah. It's like that moment where it's like, someone says something terrible to you and you're like, oh, I've got the greatest comeback. And it's 20 minutes later and the person's walked away and you're like, damn it. Damn it. The moment's passed and I'm never going to be able to. And also something I did just want to also, sorry, returning back to the rebrand and all that stuff. We are planning, as we start to wrap things up, we are planning to start, quote unquote, the new Discord for it. And we are going to be making sure the old Discord, our current Discord, has links to the new one to make sure everyone can migrate over. Again, this is we all want you to come along with us. Please come along with us. Anyways, and our plan is to kind of hopefully have a bit of a sneak preview room or something like that. As we start to reach decisions on designs and things like that, an opportunity to kind of see how things are being shaped and things like that. Cause we want to I don't want to call it a collaborative process, but we want it to be an inclusive process, I think is the best way to put it. Obviously some stuff we'll keep as surprises, we don't want to give all the beans away. But being able to see little snippets of what the new logo might look like, or here's a little snippet of some emotes or stuff like that. Really good joke. Gonna get this. Yeah, that too. Yeah, for sure. I always sometimes sometimes when I go back to because I want to grow and develop as a streamer. So sometimes I do go back and watch my VODs and see how am I doing? Am I saying too much? And one of my biggest frustrations of watching my old VODs is seeing stuff I missed in chat because as you said, a big paragraph pushed it, or I got distracted by something happening in the game I was playing and the moment passed for that little thing in chat that came by. I remember seeing one where a longtime channel follower, said hello in a stream and I completely missed it because of just something that was happening in the game or something. I got distracted in a rant. I don't remember. And I was like, God damn it. I really like being able to try and say hi to people as they come in, especially if they take the time to say hi to me, right? If a lurker comes in and doesn't want to be acknowledged, totally get it. No worries. There are days I don't want to be perceived. But if someone comes forward and says hey, Elizabeth, how you doing? I want to be able to go back and say hey, how are you doing? If someone, there's no worse feeling to me than saying hi to someone and that person just keeps walking and ignores you. And it's oh no, I've done it. Am I saying too much? Yeah. Right. Am I saying too much? Well, and it's I try to be careful about it because I know conveys uncertainty, I think is the best way to put it. But it's more just I need my brain more time to think. But here's the funny part. For a while, I was able to control the ums, but I couldn't actually control, I stopped saying I just replaced it with a different word, and the word ended up being like. So there's this whole period of I think high school and university where, if I had to do public speaking or something like that, it would be there you go, I just did it right there. Instead of saying, it would be, well, it's and and I sound like a valley girl. Whatever. It's yeah, it's same problem, different tick. To which ended up when you say to out of context, it sounds like how your opinion has changed of a person where it's I started out as and now I like them. Which is a different context, but also weird. Oh my god. There was a period where I could really piss off people because I can stay in that Valley accent I call it Valley Girl accent, but it's I can stay in it for quite some time, and it's really, if I really want to bother someone, I can do it. But I shouldn't. I must use my power responsibly. But hey chat, how you doing? Welcome to the Dungeon Lounge. It's your girl Elizabeth here. How you doing? Oh my god. Was there a Valley Good redeem? I know there was the Duchess redeem, and there was the various forms of Nya, and I think the Nya brings out the Valley. I go to that same place, that same vapid place of my brain. I think there are tools I can tell a streamer was the first time chatting stream. Pretty sure I've seen. Yes, yeah, we do have that enabled, but it was unfortunately the person that I missed talking to was like it wasn't their first time on the channel, I think is the best way to put it. It was a returning person. So unfortunately, I didn't catch them. Yes, get the Vincent Price laughs out while you can. You gotta use them while you can. Because I don't even know what redeems we're going to end up having. That discussion is probably like way towards the bottom of the list, especially because like I find sometimes what your channel redeems are shaped by your community, right? Like, I'm so self-conscious with the ums and likes. Anyways, oh no, what have I done? Bearing stretches on Sunday. Oh no. Fair enough. Like sometimes like what you expect to be, like, because I know a couple times we've got emotes where it's like, oh, we think the channel will really like this, and it's not what they ended up gravitating towards. Like I remember one of our first emotes, can't remember which one it was, and like no one was using it, like because you get analytics about which emotes are being used how often and if they get used on other channels. And like our by and away our most popular one is Sascha Bongo, like regardless of like any other emotes we've introduced, the bongos reign supreme. And that one we weren't surprised about. But there's been a couple other ones where it's like, oh, we like either we hoped or whatever, like they either weren't really adopted or they ended up being very situational, so they just didn't end up getting used. Like I think the one, say for instance, of like Elizabeth drinking tea really only gets used when I do something really saucy, right? It's not something you're going to really see, like someone's just happily going about and chat and they're like, let's redeem Elizabeth being Elizabeth tea. Like, nah. Yeah, they're very niche. So it's definitely like kind of like something we want to, like, we may not launch with a lot of like emotes or what have you, just to see what the channel demands. Oh, you've used the tea one? Oh, nice. I'm happy to hear that. It's nice to hear when an emote is, even if it isn't well used, it is loved. If that makes any sense. But the legacy of Sascha Bongos, I remember at one point I was joking with Flora and I was like, what will our legacy of our channel be? And I was like, it's going to be Sascha Bongos. And you know what? If all the things have as a legacy, I think that's a pretty good legacy. Nothing wrong with them bongos. Or I'm going to quickly just redeem it so people know what the heck I'm talking about. This one. Yeah, okay. That one was also surprising. I think more is the sound redeem than the emote, if that makes sense. I think it was one of those things where you don't realize, like, again, like, I don't realize how much I'm saying until I go back and listen to the VOD and go like, oh dear God, I'm umming my way through life. And I think it was very much the same for Flora, which is like, I don't think she realized how often that okay came out until, it became a redeem and it was like, oh no, I do that. Oh no, right? All your insecurities laid bare live on Twitch. And I think it's also like sometimes like there's like how you think you'll come across, like how you think you'll be received when you start streaming versus what the reality, like the imagination and the actual. Because it's like I remember like when we were originally starting the channel, there was a whole idea the whole idea of the shared channel was supposed to be like each of us had brought something different to the table. And I thought like, oh, I'm going to be, I'm going to be professional and I'm going to be, I don't want to say refined, but it's like, I'm going to be professional. I'm going to have poise and I'm going to, you know, give, have like a nice calming energy. And then that didn't fucking happen. The gremlin energy came up pretty fucking fast. I know. And I'm sure everyone's kind of got that. Like, I'm sure, like, I doubt my feelings on that is, not a unique thing for streamers. Oh, I knew I was going to cry on stream all the time. That one I knew was going to happen. Because I cry all the time in real life. Like, and not like, I want to be clear, like, not like in the sense like, oh no, someone's made me cry, in the sense that I will watch a movie or I will watch a TV show or I will watch a video game. I will do something and it will make me cry. I knew that was going to happen. There was that. I mean, like, let's be clear, it was baked into the design. I picked a banshee. Rather, I am a banshee. I know. Sometimes you just know. Remember an old Bell commercial that used to me? Oh, probably. There was some ones. I can't remember if it was Coca-Cola or if it was Bell, but there was one around Christmas that just was like, like the girl was going home to see her family or something like that, and like, that whole like missed connection over the holidays, and it's like, I cry. I remember a salt and pepper ad got me crying once. It was that. Does anyone remember the period in which they had like the little like? I think it was Knorr that did it, and they had like the little like salt and pepper shakers, and they got separated, and then they had the pepper shaker out in the rain, crying, and like I was breaking down. I was crying over salt and pepper shakers. The kid with the school bus driver. I don't remember that one, but I wouldn't be surprised if like it's one of those things like I can't remember, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got me at the time. Like let's be clear, a well done Christmas miracle is going to make me weep openly. Well done spirit of Christmas. I'm done. I will say though, like it was definitely one of those things. At the very least, I wasn't alone in that ad, because I remember that one also got my mom. My Mama Banshee also got hit pretty hard with that one. Like I remember when they actually released the salt and pepper shaker as merch. She wanted it. She like that was like a day one purchase. My mom was like, get me the salt and pepper shaker. I will make sure they're never separated again. And I'm like, yes, mother. Your will be done, mother. Definitely remember, have to be careful, because it's like, it's like sometimes like if you think too much about a thing, I don't know, I can make myself cry if I think too much about a thing. It's bad. Don't do it. Don't think too much. Head empty at all times. I will say though, I feel like the art of a good commercial has been lost. Like I'm trying to think about like the last like ad that like, if it wasn't something I was already interested in, that made me like made me want to be like, I need this product. You know what I mean? Like I feel like now it's all like keep like so much of it is like one influencers. Which I mean, fair enough. I kind of get the idea of if this person is if I like this person and I trust them, I will, if I have a parasocial relationship with them, I will trust their brand recommendations. But on the other hand, like, come on, where's the successor to the Grey Poupon commercial? Where the Grey Poupon? You hate progressive? Honestly, yeah. Yeah. Like I do feel like to some degree it try. Like a lot of ads I feel try too hard now. And maybe that's just because I'm older and jaded. Sorry, 27 forever. But yeah, like ugh. Oh, more CanCon. Hi. How are you doing today, Feral Beast? Do you want to come up and say hello to chat? Do you want to be validated? Chat will validate you. They'll probably think you're super adorable. Coming up? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to knock the camera. Yeah. I definitely hear what you're saying, where it's like I have sometimes actively chosen to avoid a product because Feral Beast ran away. I'm sorry. Oh no, she's back. Hey, you want uppies? Oh no, I see. You're here for the food dish. You're like, mother, my food here. Ugh. I got her. She probably won't stay for long. So I'll just say hi to Feral Beast. She doesn't want to be here. Say hello to her little paws. Paws. Yeah, hi. Say hello to her tummy. Ah, oh, she's not tolerating it. Sorry. She's like, no, don't touch the belly.
Emotional damage.
But yeah, I know what you mean. Like, there's been some things where it's like I see the commercial and it's like, I'm never buying this. I'm actively avoiding it now. Fuck you.
Oh, look at you. You're so cute. Yes, you are, kitty. Yes, you are.
Yeah, she is so cute. Here. Yeah, get in there. Thank y'all. Yeah, he's stepping on my belly for some reason. I don't know what I did wrong. Is your cat doing biscuits at all or just stepping on? I mean, usually when Feral Beast comes by and gets me in the belly, it's because she's stopped to do biscuits. Crawling across my bed? Oh, I think that might be the get out of bed. Come attend me. There was something I read. Oh, okay. Stitch slipped a little bit. Oh no, it didn't. That for cats, they can get concerned when we sleep too long because they think that we might have died, which is both depressing. So they'll start doing things to make sure you're not. Like walk across you. Yeah. I mean, that's just all cats. Wake up, feed me. Feral Beast has taken to meowing loudly in my ear. Hello, Graham. Yeah, I'm stretching. I am stretching. One thing I do find interesting talking since I saw Grim come in, is and talking about the topic of commercials, is like things that you think of as so common as like cultural touchstones, and then realizing like didn't even like make a ripple in another country, right? Like we were talking about like a couple of the ads that like got us emotionally, and if I were probably to describe that to Grim, he'd be like, nope, didn't even get a version of that one. That's impressive. That's a strong cat with the pulling on the weighted blanket. Dang. I've had to put my weighted blanket away just because it's so freaking hot. It's gone into storage for the year. or rather until winter comes back. Hard weighted blankets, awesome, by the way. I think they've been great. I find I sleep a lot better when I have a weighted blanket. Eat. Come on, I get 3 more stitches. You can do it. Ah, no. Ah, don't drop it. You like the Headstones version? You mean this song? I'll be honest, this is the only version I know. Oh, yeah, I've seen it live. Nice. This was this band is was a quote unquote the super group was formed between George Harrison of the Beatles, Jeff Lynne of ELO, Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, and one other person. What was the other one's name? Anyway, I won't remember it, and I'll figure it out later, and it'll bother me. But anyway, so so my dad was a big fan of a lot of those bands, so probably ordered with the guitar. What was I saying? So he basically this was kind of a day one purchase when they released albums as a group together. Oh, dang it. I just noticed that these two were kind of isolated. That is my annoyed sound. Okay, I can fix it. Oh no, it's 10:42. Oh no. It's getting late. Sun's getting real low. Bum, bum. All the way to hell. Da, 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 da. Whoops, sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry, camera. I didn't mean what I did. I always find it funny when there's like a version of a song like that like you may know very strongly, but isn't like the quote unquote definitive version, I guess is the best way to put it. Mm. Like I wonder how many people like say for instance, like I mentioned it like a few weeks ago, but like Johnny Cash did a cover of Hurt, and that is a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song. I wonder how many people heard the Johnny Cash version and never learned it was a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song. And I know to some degree, like Trent Reznor's kind of disavowed Hurt because he's like he considers the Johnny Cash version to be the definitive at this point. Now he's just like, he did it better than me. I don't want it no more. Right? And yeah, it's probably a lot of people. And it's probably the same thing. Like, say, for instance, Whitney Houston's I Will Always Love You. Again, that's a cover. Dolly Parton did it first. But again, how many people at this point know that there's a Dolly Parton version floating about. And I think again, like Dolly Parton kind of like considers Whitney Houston's version to be quote unquote the stronger version, or like, you know, they're different songs in some respects, like different interpretations of the same lyrics. You know, I will say it's kind of interesting, like how much one person's like just changing the instrumentation or changing how you sing a song can redefine what the song is, if that makes sense. I wouldn't say superior. She kind of was like, you know what? I think what Dolly Parton said was something along the lines of like, Whitney Houston made it her song. It's not mine anymore. And like she said it with admiration. It wasn't like oh, she took my song. It was more like she did better. She did better with it than I did, and just kind of conceded it. But like, say for instance, like Nine Inch Nails, It Hurt. Trent Reznor's version is very different, and it comes across very differently when it's sung by Johnny Cash, versus when Reznor sung it. Like, if I recall correctly, like I think part of the things is that when Reznor was singing it, he was quite young at the time, and it's not a bad song, but it comes across, I don't want to say whiny, but like Cash is singing the song with the perspective of someone who's had a long career, who's at the end of it looking back. And that's not a perspective Reznor would have had at the time he did his version of Hurt. Well, it's weird calling Trent Reznor like a member of Nine Inch Nails, because if I recall correctly, Trent Reznor is Nine Inch Nails. When I recall, like it's basically he is the name in the face, and like the writer of the band. So it's like, anyway. Yeah, more, yeah, like definitely, yeah, like Reznor's was very much coming from like, especially because like I think at the time Reznor, like Nine Inch Nails was very industrial. So yeah, like, it had a lot more of that, like, you know, teenage angst. Yeah, no, it's not like, again, like it's still a good version. I mean, you know, it was a worthy cover. Like it wasn't covered because it was a bad version, I guess is the best way to put it. I haven't heard garbage in a long time inside of. Yeah, I know what you mean. Unfortunately, garbage does appeal to my angsty banshee brain. I 100% concede that when I was a small banshee, I was an angsty little shit. Yeah, you know what? Honestly, have I grown out of it? Have I grown out of it? Possible. I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say like I have a preference for sad songs, but I do have a preference for the big feelings, I think is the best way to put it. And yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. Where it's just like I don't want to say want it in my actual life, but there is something to be said for the drama. Like I will say, like I'm a big sucker for musicals, and I think a lot of the reason is that you've got like these big emotions that can only be resolved through a surge of song. Young Banshee was very addicted to Moulin Rouge for a little while there. And yeah, definitely like, and I mean, I think it's a common thing when you're going through your teenage years is like you're figuring out yourself, you're forming that identity and everything like that. But in the meantime, you don't have control over a lot of things in your life, and you're having a lot dictated to you by your parents or what have you. And while they're probably acting, most cases your parents are acting with the best of intentions. They are still, trying to act as a guiding force, but you may not want that guiding force. And yeah, I don't know if I'm explaining all of this properly. Am I explaining it? And yeah, and how do you process? And like, I remember reading something about the idea of almost like the teenage brain is being flooded with so many different hormones, especially as a part of puberty and all that stuff, that it's almost like I don't want to call it a mental illness because it's not, but like there's such like everything is big. You can't like everything feels huge when you're in high school. Like, first relate, if you're fortunate enough, first relationships, first, maybe big friend drama, first, you're making big decisions about, potentially like school and education, and everything feels too much and huge. And like, if you're getting bullied or going through any sort of shit in high school, like you're not gonna, you don't have the ability to figure out how to navigate it. And it feels like it's so like no one understands. It's your experience, right? Like, no one can understand the angst or the pain I feel from my first breakup, or from, the guy I like doesn't like me, he likes someone else, or, these terrible bitchy girls are bullying me online or in the school or whatever. And sometimes, you hear the right song or whatever, and it's just like garbage gets me. Garbage gets me. I don't know if I'm making sense to some degree. But, and I want to be clear, I am no sort of expert on any of this shit. Me just dumb banshee. It was metal gauntlet. Yeah. I am, as people obviously see, did my playlist. I have also identified with the metal. The louder, the better. '80s thrash, fair enough. I was very like Tea Party, which we've talked about before, was a big one for me. Rammstein. I mean, I still like Rammstein. What's some other ones I'm trying to think? That's one of those things I'm trying to think of that had like what is my heaviest. There was a period for a time I was into mathcore, which is kind of like a weird variant of metal. I don't want to say weird variant of metal, but it's definitely a variant of metal. I will say I wasn't. Marilyn Manson didn't always work for me. I found that when I was kind of like, I found that I only liked one or two of his things. Yeah, definitely. There's so many branches. So many branches. And then, of course, there's my Eurotrash phase. Which is funny because this isn't like it's in the style of Eurodance, but it's not. This is a Japanese artist, right? So go fake. I have. But I feel like sometimes like dance kind of hits that same like part of my brain that metal can hit. Cause again, like, you know, if you get like the really strong like bass and like the really strong like beats and things like that, it kind of hits that same little part of my brain where it's like, loud. Loud. And also because I really like Dance Dance Revolution. So I probably funded someone's college education with the amount of DDR I played in growing up. Main layer, some good distortion. Yeah, right. 100%. The one I've also seen, which I've been very mixed on, is really slowing it down. And like it ends up like they try to make it go in a depressing direction, which on the one hand, I understand. But on the other hand, it's weird. Like my ear is like, because I'm so used to this, like, you know, say for instance, if they did a slowed down version of this, it's like, it's too slow. What have you done to it? Fix it. What's funny is I like, despite the fact that I like this type of stuff, like I was never a big fan of Initial D, which is like considered like where a lot of this came from. And it's like, I mean, essentially it's race cars, which race cars are not like my thing. They're fine, but not quite my thing. And again, I never watched a race car race, so maybe it is secretly my thing and I just don't know it yet. Because like I would say, like, you know, if you asked, you know, Elizabeth a few years ago, hey, do you enjoy wrestling? I would have been like, it's not my thing. And then, you know, I got introduced to it and now it's like, oh, no, turned out it was my thing. Oops. You know, the anime setting for the death. I was like, yes. Yes, for sure. Yeah, the I think it was the Interstellar album. I can't remember which, but yeah, they did it. They collabed with the person who did like Galaxy Express 999 and all that stuff. That was a good album. I liked it. It was a nice little narrative. I think they ended up not remastering it, but like they tried to like upscale it for use in to like put it on big screens or something like that. How to Paradise of anything. Nope, wrong spot. There. The one that I enjoyed that was in the J rock sphere was Malice Miser and X Japan. And like they're very much in the visual K area of J rock, but My little brain liked it because it like, and definitely like there's a little bit of inspiration from Visual K in my design. No hiding no hiding that influence, but like they had a lot of speed drumming on that one. Like definitely a lot of like, you see the drummer of X Japan now, he's wearing a neck brace almost permanently now because he fucked up his back with his style of drumming, which you shouldn't do. Take proper stretch breaks and all that good stuff. You ever think about how reckless sounds and spells the opposite of interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, because it's like the word wreck. Oh, hello. Speaking of my angsty teen, hello, Prodigy. Hello. How dare you call me out like this? Yeah. There we go. I'm just looking at the time. It is now 11, so this will be the last little bit of work on this one for tonight. Yeah. Let me just tie that off and then we'll do the sign off. Here we go. Get in there. Get in there. That's your home now. There we go. All right, so I'll have to get back to working on this off stream now, and that I know this is the last kind of hobby stream for this one. But I think that was some good progress. We got all this section, and we got a bunch of this stuff. So yeah, good progress. One thing I remember occasionally is original. I mean, either old or you know what? That is true. That is very true. That is interesting. Yeah, inflammable's always been a weird word to me. I hear you on that one for sure. Yeah. But yeah, that's definitely like what I was talking about, like in terms of like a dance or electronic that kind of like hits the same spot as a metal song could hit, right? Anyways, 11 o'clock. It's a wrap up. Yeah, definitely a good amount of progress, and I'll have to keep on it, and I will definitely post. Of course, this ad's running. But yeah, so we'll hold here a little bit. I won't switch over to the wrap up while we got people stuck in ad space. Boo. But yeah. Oh no. Why is Elizabeth advertising Lenovo PCs? Oh, you're free. Okay, cool. Good to know. Thank you. All right. But yeah, so I think my hope is that once I get this all finished, I will definitely post it on a Discord. Whether or not it's our current Discord or our successor Discord, it will depend on how long this takes me. Yeah, but yeah. Anyway, let us switch over. Yeah. Anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out on my, at least for now, probably our last hobby stream for a little while. I'm definitely going to miss it. I like these kind of like chill, just hanging out, chatting streams. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, obviously the idea is to get back into it once we settled all the rebranch, relaunch, restart, all that stuff. But yeah, in terms of what to expect for the rest of the week here in the lounge, tomorrow on Kanana Day, Grim will be here with Whimsical Wednesday at 2 p.m. and also doing another stream on Thursday. He's decided not to continue with Final Fantasy XII just because it is a long narrative game, and obviously he won't be able to finish it now with everything that we've decided to do. He is planning to stream something. He just isn't sure what yet. So I'm calling it Thematic Thursday because I wanted to put a name to it with another T word. And then I'll be back on Friday. I don't think I'll finish Mechanicus 2 on Friday's stream, but I'm going to make as much progress as I can and make fun of as many toasters as I can. Yeah. No stream on Saturday. And then Sunday. Be there. It'll be, as I said before, our 5th anniversary stream. We're going to be playing D&D It's going to be great, and it'll be the quote unquote final official stream of the Dungeon Lounge as we take our well deserved break to prepare for our relaunch, rebrand, re. And yeah, as I said, you'll probably see some other streams as we're working on raising some funds for new assets and all that stuff, but they'll technically be considered unofficial, non-canon streams. Anyway, all that said, thank you guys so much for hanging out. If you haven't already, here are our socials. I do strongly recommend the Discord. That's going to be included in there. Again, as information starts to get put together in terms of what we're doing for the everything, it's going to be over in the Discord. So if you aren't over there, I do strongly recommend it because I can't promise it's going to end up here on the Twitch channel. Some of it will probably end up on our socials, but it's probably like the Discord is going to probably be the most reliable source. Please consider joining it if you haven't already. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the hug. But yeah, and then also, as always, for now, VOD's over on the YouTube. Yeah. Again, thanks so much, everybody, for hanging out. Let's go find someone to raid. Boost. Ooh, okay. Cereza is currently playing What Remains of Edith Finch, which I've always think was like an interesting game. Let's go check that one. I haven't seen that one, but I've always heard it's good. Let's get that. Yeah. Right. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, good morning. Please take care of yourself. If you're in one of the areas hit by the heat wave, hydrate. Do what SiriBot says. Take care of yourself. And hopefully see you one of our other streams throughout the rest of the week. Good night.